Okay, so no public for comment. Can approve the prior meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
I thought, yeah.
Okay. So I thought, just to go through this, we wanted to approve the funding request form, the cover letter. I thought we could do that first, in case we don't get to anything else, then John can weigh in on that part. And then, so I just like to switch item 4 for item 3 on the agenda.
Can everyone see this?
Mhm.
Is it too small?
I put it on.
That's good.
We had it emailed to us too.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think we covered all the changes that we've talked about over the last few meetings. Does anybody have anything that we've missed?
I didn't see anything.
Great.
Either.
So we're good if you want to call the motion.
Okay, motion to approve the form.
So moved, Emily.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. If anyone that's not in favor, let me know. So that's good. Yeah, progress.
Pull up the instructions next. If I could find them.
Stace, I have them pulled up. You want me to
Okay.
share?
Sure.
I think this is easier to see. Yeah, this is,
So
There you go.
we took out some details that we had here for these 3 subcategories. Kristen and I changed the introductory paragraph with some of the things that you guys had talked about at your last meeting.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I guess we should do a separate motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the eligibility criteria form or letter.
I'll second it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Cool. I go on vacation more often. Kind of like this at work too. I got done.
He's got COVID. Came home with COVID. Who did? Bob? I didn't realize. Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, no. I haven't had it. Just I keep constantly getting exposed to it. So I have to wear a mask and isolate.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Okay. I couldn't hear the end of it, so I was asking Al if you had it.
I've been boosted every time I can get it. So I'm good.
I'm surprised you got past the toll booth in Madison to get back. Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone. We didn't know until we got home, so it worked out fine. All right, so next thing is the remaining requested projects, and then also the public information. There's more things on the agenda. John, since you only be here for a while, do you have a preference which to go over first?
Maybe to get the public information session, get that date set.
Okay.
I think I might have that.
So I think we don't have to give much notice, but how much notice should we give? What would be reasonable to try to get someone to show up?
Oh, for the public, hearing.
Yeah, for the public.
If you
Public for the
can,
public.
for include like an article in the source concurrent with the meeting, I think that's we post it and then time it. So that's sort of, I think you would need like 2 weeks probably to get it in the source in time for the week before the meeting. But I think that should be a priority in addition to the usual ways of getting the word out there.
Well, we've got graduation June 14th, so I'm thinking if we close to a month, it's kind of a wild week here in town. So
Yeah.
many people behind. So what about the week after graduation, or am I too far out? I'm almost 5 weeks out. Are you thinking sooner? I mean, I'm open to anything, but you can tell I have a graduate this year.
Congratulations.
My last one.
Congratulations.
Lauren, when we talked about this before, you mentioned there was a certain timeline we were going to have to follow with the notification, and that's for a public hearing though. Is that not correct?
Yeah, so if you're calling a public information session, it runs just like a regular meeting. So it's 24 hours notice on the website.
Okay.
So you have some wiggle room with that.
But we want to publish it, and you want it published a week before. So we probably only need 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
About the week before graduation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That work?
What's the 14th, Friday? Tuesday?
I got a wedding shower. Let me just check.
the 14th is a Tuesday.
Okay.
How does that work?
Well, we're in 2 weeks. We're still in May. Are we in May, or you're talking?
2 weeks, you're still in May.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to get anything in the newspaper until the 26th because
Okay.
the paper for next Thursday is already done. Gets done at 10 a.m. today. So
Okay,
you're
and
looking at,
we've got Memorial Day in that, so we really are talking June.
yeah.
Yeah.
First week in June.
So I can't make June 2nd if that matters.
Is there a certain day of the week we need to have it?
No,
Nope.
What time?
7th, Tuesday the 7th.
there's
Tuesday
a
the
ton of
7th.
BOE meetings that night.
Yeah. The Wednesday, the 8th, is that weird?
I can do Wednesday the 8th.
I could do Wednesday, the 8th.
I can do Wednesday the 8th.
Does Aaron Mannix have to attend this because there's coastal resiliency meeting on the 8th?
I wouldn't think so.
All righty, then the 8th could be just fine.
Yeah, I've got nothing on it.
Is there a specific time we try to target?
Start time between 6 and 7.
Okay.
So it's really up to you guys. What time do you want? 6, 6:30, 7?
And I assume this will be hybrid at a minimum?
Yeah, you can either hold it hybrid or all on Zoom. It's up to you. If you hold it hybrid, I have to find staff and pay them to do it. So you have to give me a couple days just to confirm that I can get the tech staff to do this.
Okay.
Well, if we gave you June 8th, and I think, we're gonna have a hybrid on this? We're talking hybrid, right?
Yeah.
We would love some people to come.
Be nice if we could get together and do it.
Most probably Zoom, but.
Yeah.
We'll have to check the room, where would we have it at Polson?
Yeah, where's Coastal? Yeah, because Coastal Resiliency is in room A. We could do it in the Hammonasset room
Right?
because that's set up for hybrid already.
True.
Oh, that's all
a little
set
bit
up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have their calendar, Lauren?
I'm looking at the
Or
schedule
calendar?
right now.
Because that's a Tuesday, isn't that usually when they have their meetings?
No, this is a Wednesday, June 8th.
Oh, Wednesday, that's right. We should
Yep.
Wednesday. Emily, do you have that calendar? No?
I'm looking at.
The room is booked right now tentatively, so I'd have to see if I can book it. It's booked for the new elementary school committee, but they have a few rooms, a few dates that week booked for that room. So I'm not sure if they actually need it. So if not, we'd have to go to Polson.
And Polson's all set up for hybrid too, right?
No, I have to, well, I mean, it can be, but it's not, you know, it's a little bit more time and money because someone has to cart everything from a different location and then set it up.
Do you think the, oh, you got the coastal resiliency in the main room here in this room?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they're in room A.
same
What if-
time, that's the
Hang on,
problem.
what about the police station? Is that set up?
Yep.
Can we use that room?
Let me check.
I mean, I know it's not as big as this room, but
Yeah. Coastal resiliency moving here, or is there a camera problem? Lauren, the Coastal Resiliency Commission is a rather smallish group these days. Could they be moved into a smaller room, or is there some technology limitation?
That's a really good question. Let me see if I can move them.
Because they could fit into this smaller room here. It's
yeah, where we are.
8 or 10 people at most.
Yeah, right now they're listed as being in-person only and not needing hybrid technology. So I will just confirm with Aaron Mannix that I can move them into room B. But that's probably the best option.
Yeah, last night was a Zoom.
Yeah, and maybe by June 8th, they'll have moved the whole thing to Zoom anyways, and it won't even matter.
Should we pick a second date if Lauren can't work this all out? Or we feel confident enough?
I believe in Lauren.
Okay.
Lauren can make magic happen.
Shh, don't tell people.
I didn't know. I'm so glad you told me.
So what time? 6 or 6:30 or 7? I'm good with any of those times. I have no conflicts. Any conflicts?
Those of you with children at home, do you want to pick a time that's good for you?
I vote later, 7.
7? Lots of-
7 sounds good to me.
Okay, 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
So I actually just have that day off, so I'll just do it from home. But as long as you're doing a hybrid, I'll do the Zoom from home.
Okay, thank you.
I can pick a day that you have off, Lauren.
Well, because I have to take my kids for their physicals and their booster shots and everything. So, I mean, I'm free at night, so that's fine.
Oh,
You
that
sure?
stinks. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay, all right, so 7 o'clock, June 8th. That means we need to get the article started next week. At least get the process started.
Yes, I just sent an email to Ben Rayner, the reporter, and I CC'd you on it, Bob, just connected
Okay.
the two of you. So he should
Okay.
reach out soon.
All right, good. Okay, so
We
that's,
have a list of not-for-profits in town that we could ever contact and let them know what we're doing. There used to be a civic group type thing that used to meet once a month or something, but is there anything like that anymore? No?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have a civic coordinators list that we created during COVID. So I'm sure it encompasses most of them because we were in contact with them when they were shutting down for COVID and then reopening and mask mandates and plexiglass and all that.
We just might want to let them, I know it's gonna be the paper, but this is a targeted group,
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of them.
Maureen, I'll check with Michelle at the chamber to see. I know they've done some networking events with nonprofits, and I'll see if she has a list too.
And there's economic development here too, so we should get the chamber to be at least aware of it, and let their members know about it.
Right.
There's two groups, and then if we can get a cultural arts group to reach out to their contacts. It's just an email.
Well, that would be good. And the form and the eligibility criteria, that'll be posted on the website?
Yes,
I
and
think
we're
that's our
doing,
goal.
yeah, I asked the webmaster to also create you guys a board page to create that ARP@madisonct.org email address where it would everything can just get sent to that email address and it'll automatically forward to everyone else. So I know that the webmaster is out this week, but she's going to work on it first thing Monday for me.
You're not going to use IMAD as your website page?
We could.
It's a lot easier to remember.
We worked so hard coming up with that. We
No,
should use it somewhere.
I think that's a much better idea. So if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to change that eligibility document to have that email address.
I think that'd be great. If anyone has any issues with it, it's just easy to remember. Cool. All right. So make that the email address.
Perfect.
It'll be the landing page. So then when that's live, then John, when you tell the chamber, you can give them that info and they can go get there, and when we get the list of nonprofits, just draft the email and send it out to them. Any other way of communicating that's besides the newspaper?
We should put it on social media. We could actually just take the article and post it with a little announcement. But I think if we hit these three groups, civic coordinators, chamber with businesses, and cultural arts, I think that'll be in the newspaper, also on social media, which should be covered.
The theater puts things up on their marquee. Would they do something, you think? We ever talk to them about doing towns announcements?
He's done them in the past. Of course, it's open now.
Right now up at the North Madison Circle, they've got a temporary one of those traffic signs up there announcing the budget referendum. And I'm sure, I'm sure that signage is going to be one of the things that somebody's going to be looking for money here. But this really brings to the point that we don't have good means of notifying people of these things.
Yeah.
And but I'm sure in the meantime, we can get the police to leave that sign up there and keep it active.
What about that would be good. And what about the patch? Does anyone else look at that besides me?
I look at it because it's on Facebook. They put it on Facebook.
Oh, it's on Facebook. Okay. I don't use Facebook, so.
Smart.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, so we got that in the works then. So article started, chambers done, social media. I don't know who does that. Someone other than me. Nonprofit, we need the list, and then we have some thoughts on the theater. If I pop in there, I'll ask them. All right. Who has control of the traffic signs, John, that you mentioned?
I think the police department.
Or maybe Sam John also.
Yeah.
Sam DeVore.
That could very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can someone is someone who knows who to talk to about that? I think it's a great idea, especially up by the circle.
Yeah, I'll reach out to somebody, Bob, and
cool. All right.
And Lauren, if you don't have a list of cultural arts groups or arts groups, I'd be happy to reach out in some groups and see if I can find if someone has a list, unless you have it already.
I just sent you what I have from who we contacted during COVID. So just, check it out, see if there's other ones I'm missing.
Okay.
Yeah, they sometimes put that sign over by Hammonasset Park when something's going on.
They may have more than one of them too.
Yeah, they probably do. They have two?
Too, Justin?
Yeah.
I think they have two, and I don't know if they still lease one, Stacy, or they. the two
We
that
were
have.
renting them and then we finally bought the two, so we
We
do
have two.
own them. Yep.
Okay.
And Sam paid enough for them, so he's looking for you. He's looking for ways to use them.
We'll help out.
Don't tell him I said that. but-
No,
We'll do our civic duty.
no. Okay, so that's taken care. We got the date, we got all that going on. And then the next one is we also have I assume others were copied on it. The email with a request from
From
Scott
you.
Cochran.
Who?
Youth and Family Services.
Yeah,
So I was just gonna add that on the bottom, so when we go through,
yeah. Okay,
we
good.
can make sure that we don't forget about that. And I did talk to him today about it.
Okay,
And I pretty much assured him that we wouldn't go to through any details tonight, but we would probably mention it along with going through all the other projects. And then maybe now he could fill out the form and come to a meeting if he'd like.
okay.
So do you want me to share the schedule or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We're up to that now.
Okay, so if you recall the top part were all the approved projects, and then we started talking about the requested projects. And basically, we started just going through what we wanted to do with each project. The Arts in the Community Grant Program, we said that we're gonna request a form from them.
Mhm.
Madison Cultural Arts, the Board of Selectmen did approve the 60,000 that you recommended. They did that this week, and then it's on the Board of Finance for next Wednesday
Okay.
morning.
And Stacy, may I just add, Peggy told us at the selectmen's meeting that the state of Connecticut in their budget included the other 60,000.
Oh, that's great.
So they did great.
Super.
Okay. Then we just started to go down. I don't know if we want to talk in detail about this community support fund at this point, because I think that's a future discussion on how we're gonna receive the forms and then distribute those funds. So the next project that we know about right now is this Board of Ed request, the Parents as Teachers program. So are we okay asking them to submit the form and obtain more info on it?
I'm assuming that's kind of like a training program for parents?
Yeah,
Okay. I think
so we
that
all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I spelled request wrong.
correct.
Okay. The Garvin Point bathroom repairs, just to go back up one more, I assume you'd want to know more about that project. Should we ask for a form for that?
Yeah, and if they have any numbers for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been in them lately, but the last time I was, they were really overdue for some work.
I think
But I don't
there
know what
are
the law-
numbers attached to that in the CIP book, no?
I don't have it with me.
There are a lot of bathrooms in that, I think East Wharf.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I don't
that
think
one.
Garvin
Oh,
was there,
Garvin.
Katie.
Yeah,
There were a lot of bathrooms in there. I
Yeah.
don't think Garvin was there.
No, it was Surf Club and
Okay.
the right.
yeah, Surf Club in East Wharf.
Yeah. Okay. The 9,000, the Board of Selectmen also approved that for the soup kitchen, and that will go to the Board of Finance next Wednesday as well.
Okay.
This 150, again, I think that's something that we talked about And I think we should revisit that as well as the 150 in the community support fund, once you can see the allocations.
Right.
Do you want to
Okay.
increase that bucket or not?
Okay.
The economic development plan, that was a request. Do we want more info and a form on that?
Can't remember what that was.
Did it come from EDC, the commission? I assume.
Yeah, Lauren, I think Sherry's on here as well. I think it did.
Yeah, I just give Sherry permission to talk, so hopefully.
Hi,
she-
everybody. Yeah.
Sure.
So to answer your question, Lauren, yes, I can reach out to Eric Dillner about arts and culture organizations. But in terms of the economic development plan, this was I think it's been on the list since the list was created. This was a Peggy suggestion. I have not gotten the EDC to move on this yet. But, we can if we think that this has legs.
Could we, since we meet regularly, could we ask you to, Sherry, to go back to ECD and just EDC and ask them if they're, what their thoughts are, are they supporting it?
Yep, I have a meeting with them at 7:00 tonight.
Okay.
Happy to.
Well, that's not, well,
Yeah.
you got an hour between to do something else, so.
Happy to ask them.
Great. And while we have Sherry, the next item, the signage that I know Peggy has really been trying to push for this. So do we want to get this form filled out?
Can you tell us specifically what that was for, what signs was? This is not the thing Sherry was talking about, signs for businesses.
No, this is wayfinding signs and replacing the old antiquated signs around town. Welcome to Madison, and then, directionals to get to different places.
Okay.
Okay.
There was a plan put together a few years ago by a vendor. So we've got like a lot of the work done already. It's now paying for the signs to be created and installed.
Well, that sounds like we should definitely
Yeah.
request information, a form or what form.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item that was already approved through the budget to
Good.
support that position. And then these are all under the town, just to,
Stacy, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, go back to community support. I think the economic development plan, we were gonna get more information, I think, on that. That was the
Yeah.
one, and when the one before, 150, that's for all the businesses, different ideas that Sherry had presented to us.
yes,
That is-
yes.
Okay, we need to discuss it more, but, okay,
Yeah. The idea was to see how much we have left and see what buckets need to get filled.
okay.
Because we do have excess, funds that haven't even been requested yet. So you may want to consider bumping that number up. But we thought maybe, that would be a different discussion. Let's see, this administrative support for the grant, that was something that was identified through the ARPA. In the final rule. At this point, I don't think we need any support. The reporting requirements have definitely got extremely easier for my office. So I think we're good for now, unless
Okay.
we find out when we talk about these buckets for the economic development as well as the community support, and we think we need an outside source. So for now, if we could just table that. And actually, I'll put to be discussed. So when we talk about those other two, we can revisit that. These two items, we did not get dollar amounts for them. However, I know you guys were a little bit hesitant about giving more to town government operations. So I wasn't sure if you wanted us to get forms and more information, or if we want to just let it kind of die down for now.
I think we should get more information before we scuttle it.
Okay,
Do you have any idea what kind of money we're talking about?
Yeah.
Even the ballpark?
I don't. Lauren, do you?
No, I don't either.
If you assume that the service that we get has a big enough bandwidth, then it's really just going to be putting in place the repeaters. And those are a few $100s each, I think.
Oh,
So if you want to put them throughout town, there'd be quite a few of them. It would be interesting to understand the Wi-Fi infrastructure hotspots throughout town for public use. There are some definite dead spots in town as far as cell service goes. If that could be addressed, it almost ends up being a safety issue. There's some spots you just can't get.
They're
Well,
fun.
let's find out some more.
Yeah.
Okay. We could reach out and try to get more info on that. The emergency shelter, 50% of it was originally included and then that was removed, as you recall, from our earlier times meeting. Scanning services. Are you willing to consider this or should we pass on this?
Can you say a little bit more about what that is?
I think it's scanning for multiple departments here at Town Hall.
is it a goal, long-term goal that we do that to all documents here?
Well, this is for public access documents too. So these are making things digitized so that people don't have to come into the building to get them or apply for certain permits. They can do that remotely. And the goal was to, create a way that we wouldn't have the same hiccups that we had if something like COVID were to happen again. When COVID first happened, the town clerk's office, for instance, was in the building almost every day because they couldn't do most of their work remotely. So we're trying to avoid things like that.
So is it really not, is it just scanning or is it going paperless?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
We want
I
to
would-
kind of get more info before you decide.
Yeah, I would, to me, that's a want, not a need. But I mean, of course, I wasn't here during COVID to watch what the town clerk was going through either. Yeah, we need more information on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a good exercise too for all these applicants to go through the process of like, how does
Yeah.
this meet the needs of the community? Who is this? I think if and when we approve these requests, we can say, $200,000 for scanning sounds kind of.
Yeah. But
But if they can make the case for why this helps the community and why this is,
Yeah.
obviously I can't do that without more information on this one. And
yeah,
all of these, if they want the money, they should fill out the form.
yeah, I agree. 200,000 for scanning seems like a lot, but if you say it's to go paperless and allow XYZ to occur in the future.
Right. We get
Change
just
the
more
story.
information.
Okay. The next one is a request that went through the budget process for the health department. The boards decided not to support this request, so it was passed on to the ARP funding.
I don't know about,
Is this a one-year number?
I'm sorry?
Is this a single year number, this 61,000?
Yes.
By us, the town thought it was, I can't remember the discussion, the budget discussion. I don't know if you can, Al. But did we feel that it really wasn't needed? Or it's just that there was a better way to pay for it? Because we're sort of committing to more than 1 year for the town to pick this up in a year. And I think that's what Al was saying. So
Yeah.
over a year from now, we'll be looking to budget that. And that's a big step. So I'm thinking, I think we should just talk to Peggy and see what for some reason, I had the impression we didn't feel we needed it. You think so during budget?
I
I
don't
can't-
remember. I
yeah,
don't recall.
Well, let's
Maureen, my recollection is, not to say it's not needed, but let's let COVID, let's see how things go, in the future when COVID hopefully dies down a little. So it was, at a minimum, it was kind of a wait and see.
Okay,
So
all right.
I would agree.
Maureen.
I don't think that's, I don't think.
Well,
moving
well,
it-
since this isn't, Justin, since this isn't definitely gonna be a one-shot thing that this, our grants won't be able to take care of, maybe we should be saying to the town, and two of us are sitting here, that really, this should be part of the budget discussion. Because you can hire somebody, you've got to pay for them the following year.
That's, Noreen, I think that's a really good point, and I think we should keep that in mind with all of these requests because
Yep. Point.
they really should be one-offs, and we don't want to
Yeah.
have these, burden the town budget and the years to follow.
And we have a history, Katie, believe me, I've been part of it. History of picking up when the grant's over, we just keep the program, the person, whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
That's the way we
And
do
I
it.
get it, like, they're all worthy.
They're all worthy,
They're all
you're right.
right. They're worthy requests. I totally understand it, but we can't start something that the town can't finish, and that's not the idea of these funds anyway.
Right. I agree.
Katie, I agree that it
Totally.
can be difficult to approve adding a person to the payroll if it's not approved for future continuation.
Okay, so I'm gonna make note
Yeah.
to remove it and to definitely bring it up in the budget process again.
Sounds good. I'll tell Peggy that Al wants to do this. Good idea, Al.
Okay, additional upgrades for our hybrid meetings.
Well, it sounds like we have to do this.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, I'll
good.
get the form request for that, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. This was moved, that was approved during the budget process. Senior Center patio.
This
I
is,
want more information. I like that it's a one-time expense theoretically, but
Yeah.
submit the application form.
I've been going to the senior center at least once or twice a week. And that beautiful patio out there is just empty. And I've always thought, would it be, and I think also if you had furniture out there, it might invite people in. They know what was going on.
I agree, Noreen. And this to me is what I consider, worthy, what the ARPA funds are supposed to be about. And this is something that, will both help with people if they're concerned about being indoors because of COVID. It will also attract people, hopefully, to the senior center, and it's a one-time expense. So I think it's
I agree.
it's a good one, but
Yeah.
I think it needs a forum anyway.
yes. These
Okay, and then-
the three technology ones, what are they? Who are they for?
I don't know if Lauren has more info on it. I think there were brief descriptions, but we can certainly get a form so you guys can understand it more.
Okay.
That was fast.
Nice. And then again, this is Lan Records,
Should that be tied in with the number?
the
60?
200.
Yeah, it's basically the similar request you,
Yeah, it just came separately from the town clerk, but we will make sure that
yeah.
we get all the info for both.
Yeah, so I just pulled up the other schedule, and those three $10,000 requests from tech are to help the children and families in town. So the equipment is to provide equipment for remote learning if families need it. The technology support services would be to address that. And then the Wi-Fi access was to provide Wi-Fi access for residents in town that can't afford it. So these are three things that, although they say technology, are for families.
Okay.
So is this being presented through youth services, youth and family?
No, this was something that Peggy had suggested and had put in through Art Sickle.
Okay,
So to that point, Lauren, I think
Yeah, we should move
that
it.
up.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
And Stacy, the numbers at the bottom here. So the 481, 859, Is that everything on this list?
That
if we
is
approve-
just,
That's
this
just that, okay.
yep.
And if we approved absolutely everything on this list, what would that grand total be? Is that the 4 million?
That is the 1.2.
Okay. Okay,
And that would leave us 743. Okay.
yikes.
The 4.5 is what the town leaders already dispersed or going to, correct?
So this is what was already approved as well as the 1.2. So what was already approved and what we're still talking about.
Right.
The 743 has not been requested yet.
So as we're looking at outside groups, that's the number that we are hoping to get requests.
Or we could redistribute, because included in this 1.2 is the 150 for economic development and 150 for community support. So if we wanted to provide more, we have this 743 to work with.
And those
Gotcha.
200,000 for the scanning would be part of that too, right?
Yep.
We decided not to do that.
And the other thing, too,
Yes,
it's, what do you guys think? They're here because they knew about it. I think what we need to do is have the information session and then give some time for applications to come in and then look at those as a group. I know we agreed to do this on a rolling basis, but we have to pick a start date. I think the best start date would be after the information session, a couple of weeks, unless something on here just screams out, great idea.
I'd just like to, I know I've said this before, some of these, I know, for example, the ropes course application was submitted by the schools a year ago. And I know we want to address urgency and time sensitive things. Like, what is the process for folks who applied a year ago? Like, do they have to keep waiting? I know for this in particular, it's dependent on curriculum writing. So the assistant superintendent is in the curriculum writing process. And so she just needs to know one way or the other so she can design curriculum, train school staff, train beach and rec staff. So I do think we need to respect those applications who've been sitting in here for like a year. So I just don't know how do we proceed on that?
So Emily, I would assume that she already has an application in.
She
Right?
submitted a very
form, so
lengthy proposal. Yes.
So if we're doing this on a rolling basis, she would be one of the first considered, I would imagine.
Well, she submitted a proposal in the back in May of 2021. So the form request, I don't know if that already went out to her or we're asking her to transfer her information into the form, but I would hope that would be timely.
yeah, so I agree. I mean, we approved to move forward already, the 69,000. So she can cut and paste on the form. I don't see why we couldn't look at this and consider it sooner than later.
And I don't know if there's others. I mean, I just know this because I just had a board
Yeah.
meeting this week and Gail asked if there'd been any movement. So there may be other requests in here that are similarly, should be moved along on more of a rolling basis. But I think that's only fair to move it along, especially if things are time sensitive.
You said there was a detailed,
She submitted a proposal in May to whatever committee was meeting at that time. Yeah.
okay.
With a budget and a proposal and specs and all that stuff.
We can grab that and forward it to you guys so we can talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you could do that. Then
Yeah.
we could review it and talk about it at the next meeting and just, if there's any more questions, we can do that. I think we did agree though, we'd ask her just to fill out, even if it's just a cursory way, the form we just approved so that we can put that on the front of it. So
Yep.
that in case we send it, just makes it easier.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but yeah, I think and if there's any others in here that have a long history, I think too.
And she can refer to the proposals stapled to it,
Yep.
section 2.
Emily, can I ask, because I wasn't on the board when they put this in, Was this considered for the budget and it was taken out? What?
No, this, not that I'm aware of. I don't recall it coming to the budget. This was straight to the ARP. It's a partnership with Beach and Rec is my understanding. So it would be like a adventure ropes course. I think the goal would be like at Bower Park and a partnership between the schools and the town. I know right now the schools do field trips to places like this, like Camp Hazen. It's team building, adventure. So I didn't see it on a school budget come through, at least not that I recall recently.
And the tie with COVID would be, this is being looked as a mental health program.
Mental health, it's an outdoor, utilizing one of our parks, physical activity, community building. There's also sort of a potential revenue stream for it because it's the kind of thing that workplaces or jobs would do, like
They do, you're right.
days and go on the ropes course. There's a whole curriculum with it too, as part of like Challenge by Choice. So, but I think how it fits into COVID is community building, mental health, Challenge by Choice,
Okay.
making connections, and then collaborating with Beach and Rec too. I know part of the proposal was offering training to Beach and Rec staff as well as to school staff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll get that email and hopefully be able to move this along.
That'd be great. I'm sure Gail would appreciate that.
Now that we have a form,
Yes.
Yeah.
forward her the form.
But,
Stacy.
Emily, the Board of Ed also has their own money, right? And what is that? What is this not suitable for that?
Well, it's not, I mean, our budget will, is all set for this year. I think Gail saw an opportunity to collaborate separately outside, but I think that's
And I
what,
think that because
No, the ARP, I thought the school was getting ARP funds of their own. Not budget.
they have received, a lot of those funds have gone to like mental health, social workers, additional staff, some technology, things like that.
I mean, I'm sure they thought about this, but someone else mentioned this to me. Isn't this kind of like dangerous? Or are they, I assume, like, are they going to hire a company to kind of, and I don't
Yeah.
know, just think about like maintenance and liability. This thing obviously has to work.
Oh, for sure. There's a company that does this in other communities. I think Clinton is doing something similar, Gail mentioned. So yes, that's all included in the proposal. So you'll get that information about the
But
liability.
this would be something probably ongoing as well with terms of people who are manning it or instructing it, I guess.
that's part of the training that's involved with the cost too. And I think why it wasn't put in the budget, if I understand you, Emily, is that it's not going on a school property and it will be used by Beach and Rec. So it'll get year-round use. And so while it is a benefit to our school kids and can be used as part of the curriculum during the school year, it can also be used off season or by other groups that visit Bower Park.
Correct. Because it's not on the school property. Exactly. Yep. But there's a lot.
Great one at Hopkins School too. And we used to bus kids there. And again, that's at a cost in and of itself too. So it would be
I think Deer Lake has, you had it too. I remember kids getting
Yep.
bused there.
Yeah.
Deer Lake and Camp Hazen.
My son was bused to Hazen last year for a thing, and I paid some fee for him, and it was a whole big event. So there's definitely standards and protocols for safety and liability though, and you'll see that in Gail's proposal when it's shared.
This brings up another thought when Justin was talking about future costs. If we approve something that it's $100,000, you can get the rope course installed to get everyone trained, but there's an implied cost over the next every year. You have to do maintenance, you have to do inspections.
It is.
Do we need to how do we manage that? If we approve it once and then it's not included in the budget, it's just going to fall apart and we wasted the money. Do we look at requests like that where we think we agree it's a good idea, we want to support it, but we can approve it pending the board of BOS review and agreement of consideration for future budgets?
It'd be interesting to have that as part of the form, or maybe it already is, because same would be true for the patio stuff at the senior center. Someone's going to have to maintain it, make sure in the winter months it's taken care of. And while it's not as big of a cost, I think
It is on the form.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be, something that we're gonna have to look at too.
Yeah.
And
future
same thing
operating-
with the bathrooms.
This is a
Yeah.
very good form.
All right. So we just need to keep that in mind when we're reviewing these. If there's future costs, we need to get some level of approval.
Well, I know, in the past, I'm thinking of the MAID grant. We had a MAID counselor for years, and for at least 5 years, maybe even longer, it was all paid for with a state grant. And eventually it came to the town to say, okay, we'd like to continue the program. We've had this person for 5 or 10 years. And the town had, the town leaders in the budget had to make a decision,
Right.
to keep funding that person. But we got a chance to see it for 5 years to see if, and it, to show if it was working, it was making a difference.
Yeah. I think we wouldn't necessarily need the board to say, yes, we will fund it, but at least agree that it's if all things work out, there would be a consideration of it. It's not definitely not, we're not going to do it kind of response. There's got to
And
be
also the Board of Ed could certainly put it in future
Yep.
budgets.
Yep.
Find some savings some other place and move it, for the ongoing cost after the 100,000 been paid.
Yep, for sure. And I think
Or,
that.
or beach and rec, or
Yep.
Bauer, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many, and it's, we have a facilities maintenance budget for all of those facilities. They'd have to sort it out in that
Yeah.
example.
Guess what we need is not necessarily a guarantee, but at least an indication of willingness to find the money in the outer years to fund it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the right thing to do. Okay.
And that's the thing, you can't guarantee what future boards will approve in the budget, but to have their buy-in, based on your recommendation up front is
Yeah.
definitely
I think
the right
that's
thing to
it.
do. So the one other item I just want to highlight that Scott Cochran did submit, Bob, to your point on his email. So I did include it. I talked to him today, asked him once the form is approved to submit the form. If you guys are all on board with that, then I'll have him do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Stacy, I didn't see the email. Could you just quickly tell us what the project was?
It was for the parent support counselor that we have a part-time person budgeted, and he's trying to get it full-time, and it just hasn't got to that point, and as well as a grading for that person if, depending on what licensing they have. So he's tried to get it to a full-time position through the budget process. It has not worked. So now he's asking that ARP support it for the next 2 years, especially since their department has seen, a lot of impact from the pandemic. So
So the 35,000 is for a 2-year person for 2 years?
it is for 2 years. It makes a 20-hour position, I believe, to a full-time position. The 35,000 does not include a benefit package. So in addition to this, there could be an additional 22,000 for each of the 2 years for the benefits, just to be fully transparent with that.
Don't you think if we do decide to do this, we should include it because that's new money? That's a
Yeah.
new-
We could, and he did originally, and through the budget process, we recommended that he take that out because for any other position, we don't include the benefit package. I know this is a little, this is unique. It's not through the budget process now. So we certainly can add the 44,000 to this 35,000 for the health benefits. We just don't typically do that during the budget process because we're self-insured.
Right.
And the benefits are based on historical data and trends. So it wouldn't actually kick into the town's expense until a year or two from now.
So if he hired another part-time person, we'd have the same dollars spent on that, but we wouldn't have the benefits. We'd save on the benefits versus giving somebody a full-time position with benefits.
Yeah, I think the issue is though, he's having a hard time finding a person who will accept a part-time position.
Okay. Well, when you think about it, he's asking for 17,000 a year, or 18,000 a year. that doesn't, I wonder what this person makes if that's half her salary, she's making 36,000, right? About 36,000 a year. We're not talking about a high salary.
Right.
Well, let's get the form and then we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
dive into it.
This wasn't a, at one point,
Yeah, I kind of feel like this one is similar to the health department. I mean, we
It
went
is.
through the budget process and I
yeah,
can't recall exactly, but I think it was kind of deemed, it just wasn't, it wasn't voted on. So I don't know if this is the right way to do it, in my opinion. It just seems.
Justin, as a Board of Finance member, let me just ask you this. There's certain things in here for town, 10,000 here and 10,000, whatever, some bigger ones. We all know that we have a pretty large rainy day fund. If we choose to request the town use some of the rainy day fund for some of these items, because the biggest difference is all these EDC programs and arts programs and whatever, all these outside groups beyond the town don't have access to our rainy day fund. But the town does. And we obviously we disperse some of it, but it's pretty high. It's higher than it looks great when you're bonding, but it's higher. We've really been putting a lot away. Anyway, just a thought on my part, because there's a lot of little ones and some big ones from the town. And the town's already taken the bulk of the grant.
Yeah, I mean, without getting into the rainy day fund, I think my concern here is the other ones you're referring to are showing up now for the first time. I mean, this has been vetted by 2 boards.
And turned down. So
yeah, I don't. And we all knew we were in the middle of the pandemic, so it's not like that's not new information.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think we should get the form, Justin, I understand what you're saying, but because we don't have like a rule set that says no out of the gate.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm with you. It's gonna be hard to approve personnel additions. Especially if they've been reviewed before and turned down.
I also think we should invite Peggy to sit with us when we
Yeah.
consider those.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we have all the information.
Okay. I think that's it, isn't it?
yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad we got through this. We can update it for next time. One thing I did want to mention for next week, we have a meeting scheduled. But we do have a retirement party for Scott Erskine at the Surf Club at 6 o'clock. So I wasn't sure if we can start a little earlier or if Lauren and I at least can be dismissed a little earlier.
Well, do we want to get together next week? First, yes? Okay, so I can start earlier. And you guys can cut loose if need be. Can anyone not start earlier?
What time are you thinking? How early?
How much time you need?
We could do 4:30 to 5:30. It starts at 6, so
Is this the 17th,
19th.
19th, we switched it, okay.
I could do even 4, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, me too.
Is that 4:30?
4:30 it is.
5:30.
I can do it.
Okay.
Does 4:30 work for Stacy, for you and Lauren and the staff, everybody?
Yes, it works
Yeah, that'll
for,
work.
yep.
Okay.
Good.
Well,
Great, thank you.
right, that works then. All right, so what the call for adjournment?
No, as long as no
So
one,
moved.
All right, so then there's no objections. We'll
yeah,
adjourn
no one
today.
objects, right?
All right, good progress. See you all next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Good meeting, guys. Thank you.